In this video, we're going to be talking about the best startup grants this year, $60,000 in grants, and how to get money for your business. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Rinde from AskRinde, and welcome to the #1 community for real estate, income, and credit. So if you'd like to know what the best type of startup grants are this year and how you can get money for your business, make sure you watch the video to the end and leave a comment below if you need help with anything. Startup grants are the most important grants for new entrepreneurs. Every new business owner should have a guide on how to get startup grants. So this is for you if you're a brand new business and never had a grant and don't know much about how to get grants. It's also for you if you're trying to get sales and a plan of how to access money and capital for your business. So there are many grants floating and being launched, from stimulus grants to recovery grants to small business grants to match grants to competition grants. The list goes on. And oftentimes it can be very confusing as to what grant you should apply for as a new business and a new entrepreneur. Now, while some grants are labeled as startups, not every grant is a startup grant. A startup grant is a launch grant. It's meant to push and launch the company out and generate jobs and also stimulate the local economy. Now, there are 3 key points to note when you're going for startup grants. The first one being application fees. You should not be paying application fees for grants because it's a ripoff, especially when the grants are competition grants where you're actually going to be competing against others for the grants, and also match grants where you're going to be matching the funds up to 100% by bringing some of your own money to be able to match with their money for the grant. Now, in the cases where you actually have rolling grants where they're actually continuously giving grants out on a monthly basis, such as the Amber grant that has a $15 fee, in those cases there may be an exception. But ultimately, most grants that are actually one-time grants or annual grants or biannual grants that have application fees, they generally tend to actually set you up so that you can actually pay for the grant. They will put out a PR newswire announcement for the grant and get many entries in. And after getting enough entries, they've actually not only made the money to be able to pay the grant, but they've also actually turned a profit. And in addition to that, it's free marketing for their entity and their organization. So you actually need to be aware of this when you're actually applying for startup grants, that you don't get taken advantage of by applying for grants that actually have application fees attached to them, because in essence you're not going to get approved, or they have criteria that's not going to be favorable to you as a startup, but they're getting your money. So in essence, by them getting enough entries in, they're not only paying for the grant that they're going to issue out to someone, they're also making a profit, sometimes double, sometimes triple, on these grant announcements and these grant programs that they're offering to the public. And with that being said, you need to follow the guidance of the next 2 key steps, and that is you need a startup grant that has a very low entry point, and you also need a startup grant that has very few requirements. These are the 2 things that you want to look for when you're actually going for a startup grant, because you are a startup. You don't have revenues. You don't have history. There's many things that you lack. You actually need a start. You need help to be able to move forward. And that's why you're actually applying for a startup grant. It's supposed to be a startup grant. It's supposed to be helping you to launch your company, launch your business, launch your vision. And so you want to make sure that you're actually looking for that specifically, those 2 key points when you're actually going for startup grants. So a great example of a startup grant would be the Startup Bucks program for entrepreneurs. So Startup Bucks, a 501c3 organization founded in 2019 and located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, exists specifically to be able to help companies start, grow, and scale their businesses. So they recently announced a new $60,000 grant called the Bucks Built Startup Fund. Now, this is a fund funded by Penn Community Bank, a local regional bank with numerous branches and locations in that area and strong ties to the community. So Penn Community Bank knows what it takes for entrepreneurs to be able to start and scale their businesses. So they've actually teamed up with Startup Bucks to be able to help entrepreneurs, which in turn will be their future customers. So as part of the program, the grants come with training, networking, hand-holding, weekly educational events, and mentoring. All things that small business entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs need to be able to not only grow their business, but also scale forward. It's not always just about money. You actually need guidance. You need clarity on what to do to move your business forward. If you're jammed up and you're trying to figure out how to actually start to generate sales, you need some sort of mentorship. You need someone that you can call to bounce ideas off. You need someone that you can actually glean from to be able to help you make the right decisions, to help you avoid spending money that you don't need to be spending, and actually causing you to be as part of these statistics of small businesses that start and fail. And this is why the best type of startup grants you can have is when local banks team up with nonprofits for entrepreneurs to be able to help them start and grow their businesses. And this is also an excellent and the best way to start building business credit, because you're forming an alliance and a relationship with a source that's going to be able to give you lines of credit and also access to capital for your business as you need it. So if your business is new or struggling and you're looking for grants and capital to be able to grow your business, to be able to start your business, to be clear on how to move forward, make sure you get our Startup Grants Guide. We've recently added our Startup Grants Guide that includes over 35 steps of what you need to know and do as a new startup in order to be able to get startup grants. You can actually access that guide by going to our website, AskRinde.com, clicking on grants, and joining our grants masterclass. We've actually created a masterpiece and a top masterclass to help you get from point A to point Z, to position yourself in grants, to be able to compete for grants anywhere in the country. And this is where you connect the dots. We actually help you strategize from where you are now to get you in motion to where you need to be. So you can actually get our Startup Grants Guide and simply follow the guide in order to be able to find and apply for startup grants all around the country. So we look forward to seeing you inside our Grants Masterclass. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. You can also email me. My email address is AskRindeNetwork@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.